Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron here with Endtime Ministries and their magazine, Endtime Magazine. Now, they're huge, 1-800-ENDTIME or endtime.com. They recently made the Washington Post list. I think it turned out to be fake news that they were pushing Russian, they did some 200 organizations that were doing Russian things wittingly or unwittingly, and then they're like, oops, we kind of messed up on that. I think they retracted that. But anyhow, Brother Baxter, he used to pastor there in Richmond, Indiana for many years, longtime Pentecostal, and then the ministry, Endtime, grew so huge, radio all over America, and that's television all over America, huge internet presence as well, and then this magazine has been going out for, I'm guessing 30 plus years, because I was getting it way back, maybe late 80s, I'm just guessing, so right at 30 years ago. And so Brother Baxter, he's apostolic, good man, tremendous guy, goes out to a good church in Dallas. I can picture the pastor. I can't call his name right now. The church is doing really good, runs probably 12, 13, 1,400. Brother, I want to say it's Hathaway. It's not Hathaway. It's not Hancock, even though there's a good Pastor Hancock out there. Oh, his name's just not coming to me right now. But anyhow, Endtime Ministries has been around for a long time. This was the December issue. You can call and get a subscription. There's a ton of non-Pentecostals. I said this is a December issue because of the front cover, December 23rd, 2016, First Step to Armageddon. But then I just noticed it says March, April 2017. And the subscriptions are a little bit of nothing. People actually get rolls of these, pass them out in the church. And there's pros and cons with what Brother Baxter believes. I've always appreciated in that even though he is a post-tribber, he would say that the rapture of the church comes 1,290 days after the revealing of the Antichrist in the temple. That, he doesn't make this, he still fellowships with people that are pre-tribbers, mid-tribbers, after the sixth seal tribbers, before the 7 years, Brother Norris, I think, started teaching that the rapture would come not just at the beginning of the tribulation, the rapture, tribulation, but 7 years before that, based on Joseph marrying his Gentile bride Asenath, that type thing. And he's kind of become just a real conglomeration for news. Sometimes he's been sensationalistic. I remember the Oslo Accords in the 90s. He was pretty sure that was the 7-year covenant, and even as late as 1996, he was really, he just wouldn't say definitively. He was like, the temple's probably going to be rebuilt, and here we are, and this type thing. And then I remember, I think it was USA Today, took out a full-page ad, wrote a book called The Coming China War. And then after 9/11, he kind of turned on a dime, said, okay, it's not China, it's the Muslim nations and all of this. And he's been kind of real big that Gorbachev is going to be the Antichrist, that kind of thing. So, you take the good, take the bad. I don't get real caught up in it. I've known some people that are just so caught up into this, they're just constantly looking for the Antichrist. They're picketing the RFID chips and the Real ID Act. And I find that fascinating that the second the federal government said you can't fly without the Real ID Act, now all these states are like, okay, we're doing it, because these business people are like, you better get on board. That's not the mark of the beast, the RFID. Obviously, it's got something to do with tracking, but that's just coming down the pike. We got satellites everywhere. It's just, they're going to track you. They just face it. You might as well just pray, ask God to give you a great revival, because they're going to track you. And but we just don't believe in getting chips in our bodies, anything like that. So, but has a lot of good stuff, a lot of good speculation. He's just started a Bible college there in Jerusalem. This would be a good one to get. Am I saved? The supreme question to life. I would recommend that. He does a great job on that. I've read his Revelation commentary. from start to finish. I just have some disagreements. Like he would say the eagle in Revelation 12 is the United States. Well, I'm like in Exodus, it said, I carried you on eagle's wings. It was the United States at the Exodus. I'm just like, so every time you see an eagle, it doesn't necessarily mean the United States. And every time you see a bear, it doesn't necessarily mean Russia. So you have to be very careful about that. It's got a saying with his end-time prophecy conferences. Of course, Brother Baxter, he goes all around the world doing this, Plain of Megiddo here, but very well done. And he's becoming, since Hal Lindsey, wrote Late Great Planet Earth in the 1970s. And so he's always been kind of the man for prophecy. And then Chuck Missler, what a tour de force intellectually he is in scholarship. But Brother Baxter is just getting right up there. He's very popular. People like his style. He's very easy to talk to. The name of his radio program is Politics and Religion. So great stuff. He would say, like, this is because the end time is now. And it is. I don't want to hype people so much that the end is coming, the end is coming, the end is coming, the end is coming. And then everybody's like, you said the sky was falling 25 years ago and it didn't fall. And then people just get cold about that. We better be looking for the coming of Jesus Christ and not the Antichrist. And because if there's some things, your eschatology determines how you live your life sometimes. So if you're constantly looking for the Antichrist and the one world government and that you're going to be a part of some tribulation forth, well, this is, them people tend to buy land and then they become preppers. And there's nothing wrong with prepping at all. But their focus gets off of winning souls and interceding and seeing people born again. And it becomes self-preservation, which is kind of the opposite of the gospel. We're supposed to give ourselves away. And, we're supposed to, if somebody asks us for food, we're supposed to give them food and these type things. So it gets our minds kind of, again, on self-preservation rather than the gospel of Jesus Christ. So End Time Magazine, just wanted to do a review of it. God bless. Talk with you later in Jesus.